Hey friends, welcome to the last regular exam. Woohoo, we made it. So this is for your Unit 8 examen. So this is the regular, what would normally be a 50 question exam. Good news, there's only 35 questions on it. So let's hop in and get started. Questions 1 through 15 are vocab. So do whatever works for you. Review those pages in your unit or make the Quizlet, make flashcards, whatever. 16 through 19 are about the verb haber, which we're going to talk about in just a second. So we'll talk about the different conjugations and all that good stuff for the guiones. 20 through 35 are the perfect tenses. So that's going to be your future perfect, present perfect, past perfect, and then the conditional perfect. And so those are things like I would have talked, or I have talked, I had talked, things like that. And then let's go ahead and jump in and we will go through that grammar. So I'm going to share my screen here with you. And let's go to the guion here. Sorry, it's giving me a hard time. There we go. Okay, so start up here at the top. These are the forms of haber. This is kind of an irregular verb that's not used as a normal action verb like tener, ser, comer, whatever like that. It's an auxiliary, so it's a helping verb, and it usually means to have and then done something, okay? So let me explain that a little bit. We have eaten a ton of candy today. Nosotros hemos comido un montón. We have eaten a ton of candy here. The verb I comes from, it's a conjugation of haber. So it means there is or there are. I means there is or there are. So it's both for singular and plural. So this is why I say it's irregular, is because there's no like I yet, right? When you're using an I expression, and granted there are subjunctive tenses that we're going to worry about later, but I is the only one you're going to use when you're talking about I expressions. So hay una sola persona que trabaja aquí. There is only one person. Same thing with the plural. There are a lot of people. Hay mucha gente. You could say hay muchas personas, right? So even though it's plural, you're only going to use I. You can also use it in weather expressions, not something that we really hit on, but I just want you to know this. And then past tense, this is the impersonal past form, the imperfect form of haber is había. So this is also used for singular and plural nouns. So había solo un libro, right? Sobre este tema en la biblioteca, there was only one book. Or había 4 personas esperando al médico cuando llegué. There were only 4 people waiting for the doctor when I arrived. So hubo is the other past tense. This is the preterite. Make sure that you don't say hubieron. Hubieron doesn't exist. And I've heard stories of people, Costa Ricans, laughing at each other when somebody will say hubieron, and then everybody's like, ha ha, you're from the country, aren't you? You're kind of a redneck. So this is from past tense, there was or there were. So make sure you know the difference between había and hubo. Había is more like there used to be. Hubo is one specific time when you're talking about the duration or existence of something in the past, such as hubo una fiesta. Look at this. This is the time. El sábado pasado. We're not talking about an extended time. We're just talking about last Saturday. And then no hubo buenos programas en la televisión anoche. So even though it's buenos programas, it's plural, it's still hubo. So again, those 3 are I in the present, había in the past, and this is for ongoing things. It used to be, and then hubo is for a past tense one-time action. The other one I want you to know for the future tense is habrá, which we're going to talk about in the next video. So here we go. There are 4 different perfect tenses. in Spanish. So we're going to talk about those. The present, for example, I have done something. The past, I had done something. Future, I will have. And the conditional, I would have done. So the conjugation, the formula, if you will, is haber plus the past participle of the verb expressing the completed action. What's a past participle? Glad you asked. These are things like eating, gone, called. They usually end in en or ed. So like we talked about, it uses the haber, and then it also uses the past participle. So to have this perfect structure, you have to have those two things. You can't have the present structure without one of those two things. So I have eaten. I had slept, right? I would have told her, right? So these are the conjugations that you'll need to know. Make sure you know these really well. There are a total of 15 questions about these things on your test. So if you don't know them, you're going to get a little stumped. Present tense. Has, hemos, habéis, han. That's the present tense. And then notice that the E here changes to the E here, the A goes to the A here, and the A goes to the A here. If I were you, I would just memorize all of these, and then I would put them on a blank sheet of paper as soon as you sit down to take the test, so you don't get confused. Future tense is super easy. Habré, habrás, habrá, habremos, habréis, habrán. All of those have accents except for the E on the nosotros. Past tense, all of these have accents on the I. So había, habías, había, habíamos, habíais, habría. And then conditional is habría, habrías, habría, habríamos, habríais, and habría. Let's talk about the past participle. Like I said, these are words that end in en or ed. So talked, taken, things like that. In Spanish, they're super easy. In English, they're hard to identify, and there's a lot of really random, irregular ones. In Spanish, you guys are lucky. These are really easy to identify. They're words that end in ado or ido. So if it's an AR, it's al, and if it's ER-IR, it's eu. So for example, hablado, comido, vivido. Here are the irregulars, and I'm going to highlight some of these that can take my random test. Those would be things like abrir, abierto, hint, hint. Things like dicho, hint, hint. This is either said or told, depending on the context. And then things like escrito, hint, hint. You might want to know those. But really, these things are used throughout. And if you mess them up, people are going to kind of snicker at you and laugh. So you want to make sure that you know those well. Perfect tenses. So let's put this all together. Present perfect. Yo he estudiado español. I have studied Spanish. Okay. Past perfect. Yo había estudiado español. This is the idea that I had studied when I decided to do something else. Yo había estudiado español por 4 años cuando decidí estudiar portugués, right? For example, I had studied for 4 years when I decided Spanish when I decided to study Portuguese. Future perfect. Yo habré estudiado español. I will have studied Spanish. This isn't used very commonly, but it's still a good thing to know. Conditional. I would have studied Spanish. I guess this isn't very common, but still good to know. Check out these extra examples down here. And that, my dear friends, is all that I have for you. So good luck on your test. And I will see you next week for the finals. So good luck.